I am Sudarshana from Department of Biochemistry, the Oxford College of Science. Today I am going to discuss the topic of nature reservation, tribal population and human-wildlife conflicts in Indian context. So these three topics, which is actually an important topic which comes in the environmental science and which is given in the syllabus also. So here if you see the topic, the nature reservation and human-wildlife conflicts, which are actually means close to each other. So first I will be starting with the nature reservation and followed with this tribal population. Okay. What is nature reservation? Are we really reserving the nation? If you see, our means human life, even few of the animal lives, destroy the nature without even knowing how we are destroying it. So what is nature reservation? Well, nature is an area that actually set aside for the purpose of preserving the animals, plants and also the other organisms. That's why we have like certain kinds of the national park. Usually the parks will be smaller or means it may be a larger one, but the purpose of the parks was to protect the nature. But nowadays if you see, many of the parks are only for the enjoyment of people. We are only getting benefiting by taking the selfies over there or spoiling it by usage of the plastics and other stuffs. So when we step or we can say start by the nature reservation, we should first start with how we are dealing with the nature, right? Even when you go to the trees also, when you see one tree, we will not be actually means quietly taking the, respiring under the tree. We will be doing something over there and we will be like taking the fruits over there, we will be taking the leaves, we will be playing with that. More of the time we will be destroying the tree only. For example, if you see, many of the nature, right, nature stuffs, which are all benefiting us, but we are only exploiting it, right? So when we start with the nature reservation, first we should mention the endangered species, because that is a important thing that to be discussed now. Especially many of the tiger reservation schemes are there in India and also in the abroad. There are certain kind of organization which actually means serve the endangered species, but only they are focusing the tigers. But if you see the endangered species, many of the species starts from the insect to the higher animals are getting endangered. At least we need to focus endangered species that is endangered, or we can say like, okay, in another 10 years or 20 years that species will be destroyed. At least try to make the other species alive. That also we are not doing. So that for the topic only that I have chosen the topic nature reservation. So generally nature, that particular endangered species which are often kept in the reserves by means of many of the tiger temple and other organizations are there to preserve the tigers. Likewise, each and every endangered species has to be preserved in this way. Okay. So if you see in the United States, there are numerous wildlife refuges. For example, refuge camp for the animals, and they actually respect the birds. Here also we have certain kind of the girl sanctuary or bird sanctuaries over there, but I don't know how many sanctuaries are running properly in India. At least as a youngster, you should take a remedial step to preserve at least whatever, either it is a bird or insect or animal or whatever it is. Try to make certain kind of the refuge camp to that, so that it has its own kind of that you should take the belongings over there. Okay. So why we need to protect the nature? Everybody is telling, okay, that we can make a refuge camp over there or we can make a reservation centers for that one. Why do you need to protect it? Just see, if endangered species, when it gets destroyed by the another 20 years, obviously the entire species will be destroyed. Destroyed in the sense, even it cannot be living over the parts, right? Even many of the parts in the India and even in the abroad also, the particular species will be destroyed. Okay. So when you start to reserve certain kind of the species, that has its own kind of a habitat over there, because generally when you take the topic of the reservation, we should first see the habitat over there, and also migration, right? So migration of the species, migration of the animals is much more important. So for that purpose, at least we need to take a step regarding this reservation. Okay. Okay. So this particular endangered species, they are often protected and conserved in the nature reserves to prevent them from the extinction, and also to provide certain studies and research over the means appreciation opportunities over there. That is also very important, because when you take initiative steps for the reservation, you should first know what is the breed over there, how to make the particular species alive, and to make that particular research to make it actually, whether that will be suitable to make that over there, whether the world is, or we can say the environment is suitable to the particular animal, and what kind of the habitat it requires, everything that you can learn from it. Okay. So there are certain ways to preserve the nature. For example, the nature reservation. First, there should be a strict nature reservation where the particular nature has to be, the habitat should be a proper way, and also it has to be, that environment should be a healthy one. National parks has to be maintained even in all the towns and also the cities. Natural monuments should be there, because in another 20 years, if the endangered species is there, the future generation will not be knowing what kind of the species it is. And also the habitat and species management area, protected landscape, of course, for even the aquatic animal and also the terrestrial animal, the landscapes and also the seascape, that should be a proper, and protected area with sustainable use of the natural source. That is also very much important. When you make animals into the cage, and we should give the proper natural resource to the animal, right? And means without even giving any kind of proper food or proper water, when it gets totally dehydrated, there is no point of actually making the preservation over there. So that is also very essential when you have the particular species, for example the birds or animals, to reserve over there. Okay. What is the advantage of this zoos as well as the wildlife reserves? So this protection of the species from indiscriminate hunting, right, by the humans, that has to be avoided. Even that we are making the hunting of everything. Many of the animal, products that we are using, without even knowing we are using many of the animal products like leather, right. So, see, for the purpose we are taking the animal product is different, and wantedly we are killing an animal and taking the product is different. For example, milk is also an animal product, right? As well as there are many of the people who are going to the vegan diet nowadays, right? That is the restriction of animal products. Okay. So if you see this, every day in our day-to-day life only, we are actually killing many of the animals. For example, seashells, right? Seashell in the sense like, shells of pearls, right? That we are killing the shell and taking the pearl for our own ornaments, right? I have some slides to show what kind of the images that comes over there. So, yes, if you see other animal like elephant horns, we are using over there for the ornamental purpose, and also elephants, this thing that we are taking, right, and other stuffs like honey we are using. So these are all by killing an animal and takes for our benefit. That has to be stopped. And wildlife preservation, and also many of the zoos that may be only chance for the survival of some species, because when few of the animals, when it go out, because the habitat change over there, automatically it cannot exist, right? So for that purpose the reservation is required. Some sanctuaries which serves as a place to nurse the rescued or mistreated animals back to the health. That is very no like. Sad to say, many of the animals are mistreated. So we should have a proper what is that caring unit to them. That is our only no the way of preserving the animals. We should care them a lot because many of the domestic animals are care, but the other animals, if you see the wild animals, that cannot be cared in a proper way. So for this kind of organization, like any kind of zoos and wildlife preservation center, should give the proper caring to the animals. Okay. And the bird sanctuary could also serve as a refuge for the animals which are suffering due to the large scale habitat, and also that provides a human with a chance to get close to the animal and personal with that what is that to wonder what kind of the habitat it has, and it should actually have that yeah, it should also means we should actually know about the animal. Like personally, we should know what kind of the requirement that animal has to for having a better understanding between the human and animal. Okay. So these are certain ways to protect the animal. Okay. And one way, like to provide any kind of a great education and also the opportunity for the school kids and adults to see the animals. Animals cannot be only seen over in that. Kids should not see, okay, it is just an animal flesh. The kids should understand what actually the flesh is, how much of the animals are killed by taking the flesh, so that they can also have some idea, okay, we should actually avoid the non-vegetarian foods. We should not take this kind of animal and also the blood spots over there. Now, so this kind of zoos and other stuffs which removes many understanding and misnomers over the specific animals, so that the humans may not kill the animal also. Okay. So much of the animal research which goes into the place, finally a place where the whole entertainment for the family also. So animals actually cherish us, right? We are getting benefited by the animals. Okay. Okay. So next topic, I am moving to the tribal population. So India has the second largest tribal concentration in the world. That means tribal population across because like various parts of the country, mainly in the forest and also the hilly regions, the tribal population is more. And these characteristics of these communities are their particular geographical location, where they have their own distinct culture and also economic backwardness. That is actually means they are, that's why, that is the reason they are away from the other social, groups. Okay. Basically, when we talk about the tribal population, we should first see what are the problems which are faced by the tribal population. Of course, poverty, exploitation, economic and also the technologically backwardness, socio-economic or we can say socio-cultural handicaps and socio-economic handicaps also, and some problems which also arise with the mainstream population because they are huge in the number of population over there. Main causes arises loss of control over the natural resource. Even their entire forest is their own area, where the forest is a place where they live, but we normal people are destroying it. That is also one kind of a factor that we should address here. Lack of education, displacement, rehabilitation, problems of health as well as the nutrition, gender issues. So these are the major issues that they face. Okay. Okay. And one more thing, untouchability and also, yeah, of course, they have their own constitution of rights. They have their own rights, but still they are being untouchable over in this several extents. Okay. So Indian laws, the constitutional provisions are there, where they have the constitutional provisions which has a basic safeguard which is provided in the Indian constitution, especially educational and also cultural safeguards, social safeguards, economical safeguards and also the political safeguards. So these constitutional, what is that, the particular act which actually provides these kinds of safeguarding measures to them, but still they are considered to be the backward one. So what is the remedy, or we can say how they can overcome from this one? By means of the education. Because they say when you give the education, obviously education teach you many more things. Okay. So there are many organizations and also the government has taken many steps to educate the people, and also they have certain kind of the, they can go for certain kind of the vocational training courses, and any kind of many of the scholarship scheme is given to them, and also many of the ashram schools are also means the opportunity is there for them for the top class education, so they should avoid all those things. Okay. So the other topic is, again I come to the wildlife human conflicts, where we have already started with the nature reservation, where we also have seen how we are actually destroying the wildlife animals also, and the human conflict. Why we tell that human wildlife conflict means, where many of the conflicts to the wild life is comes from the human. Either it can be a what is that, deforestation of deforestation, or we can say it is a killing a wild animal, whatever that comes over from the human only, that we should admit it. So any injury or loss of the life of the, what is that, wild animals is also by the human only, because we only go for many of the haunting also. So this wildlife and human conflict, if you see, even animals also equally give some kind of a damages to the human, where crop damages are happening over there, predation of managed wildlife stocks are happening over there, and also which, yeah, many of the human injuries also happen because of the conflicts over there. They damage the human property also, and tropical cascades are happening, destruction of the habitat also happening. Because of that only, even tribal people cannot able to move from the forest. That is also because of the reason. Okay. So what are the special management technique we can actually go for that to avoid this kind of a conflicts? Just by make that, what is that, environment which is suitable for both, right? So it has to be suitable for the animal as well as the human. So both cannot be disturb each other, right? Okay. So basically from the human side, that what are the conflicts we are making to the animals, that you can able to see in this picture. So first picture that describes how we are actually killing the seashell and take the, what is that, pearls, right, just to make the ornamental purpose. And the second one, if you see, that is a bee, how we are preparing the bee wax and also the honey from the bee by killing this much of, what is that, bees. And second one is a silkworm. It is very pathetic to see, to make a single silk thread, how much of the silkworms are killed, that you can able to see in this image. So these are certain kind of the things that we can avoid. So there are lots to speak about the topic, but we are giving just some examples to know how we are actually means conflicting the wild animals and also the other animals. Okay. So here I am just like giving few of the, what is that, information about the human wildlife conflict, and what are the ways to avoid it, by means of make some kind of a conflict management strategies, that translocation of animals and making a cage system to that one, and also either the conflicts that comes from direct or indirect, but we should have certain kind of a management to protect that one. Even if you are providing the cage to the animals also, we should make sure like the particular habitat should be maintained and the particular temperature should be maintained, to that it should have its own kind of a comfortness over in this place. So these are the points that we should make sure when you take care of this kind of nature reservation. So these are all in our hands only, where over the geological survey only they have described only the human goals can only achieve this kind of the conflicts. So we should work on the human, what is that, wildlife conflicts, and how to overcome it in a simple way. Thank you.